Hello, you're here with Shady Jane today. Today we will be exploring the Shiloh Cemetery. This place has been known to bury Confederate soldiers, and before this was a cemetery, it was called Belu Primitive Baptist Church Cemetery before it was Shiloh. Members of the Leeds first founders and oldest cemetery in Leeds was buried here with their slaves before the Civil War and before it became an actual public cemetery. We will be looking at some of the dates. Some of the information you may find on Wikipedia or YouTube videos says the last date somebody was buried here was in 2006, I do believe. But after scoping it out before we did our documentary, it was 2012 before okay, we just had somebody pass by. Okay, 2012 was the last burial here that we've seen. Some of these graves are marked in the Birmingham Historical Library of 1820 and on, but before this was just a clearing and a stop to the Little Cahaba River, which is over there, and we'll get that in on the documentary as well. Between Montevallo and Asheville, this was the drinking stop for people traveling. But like I said, some of these graves are unmarked. They dated back to 1820, according to Birmingham Historical Library. This is a pretty public cemetery. Only a few have said this cemetery has been haunted by ghosts and other paranormal entities. But the only thing that we've found out here so far is the church is the most interesting thing, I should say, out here. We walked around the church when we first got here. Some of the windows are broken open. Some's boarded up. It was the late 1800s when the church had been moved north, and they kind of let it run down. And you could smell the mold outside the windows. But we're just going to take a walk and a stroll through the cemetery so you can get to see some of these old stones that wasn't even marked. That has not been recorded in the library because they didn't establish the library to 1980 something, I do believe. And we're right next to Asheville Road, so you're gonna hear cars. It's not really very peaceful over here. It's pretty loud. We do have some vandalism out here, but you're gonna have that pretty much every cemetery. And you hear John over there recording for his documentary page. Anything we see or anything we hear, you hear and you see. We don't have no fancy filters for our recording documents. Yes, we do have it in the title page, but we do not have it in the videos. And as you can see, the church is still right over here. Pretty big church. We're going to walk back over here to the church. Here's the first window that I didn't record through when we were looking through. And like I said, it feels like an AC is on, but there is no power to this building. It hasn't been for years. Like over 30 years, at least. This is the downstairs of the church. And they have it chained up. So we will not be trespassing this building. And another thing is we found a stairway right up there leading to windows, not doors, but windows. I think it's some kind of fire emergency exit. Alright, let's walk back to the cemetery. I'll also be posting pictures throughout this video, or at the beginning of this video, of the insides of the church, of the pictures that we did take, and the outside surrounding of the cemetery. Now we're going to walk to the back of the cemetery over here. This is also my first cemetery documentation. And if you didn't know, here in the state of Alabama, it is illegal to cross into a cemetery at night. But we still have people that do it. This is a new burial. This is the October 18th, 2012. This is the most recent grave I've seen in here. But a lot of articles will show 2006 was the last burial here. But they still use it. So, 2012 is the last one we've seen in here, so. We have a sergeant from the U.S. Army, World War I. And Mildred Jones. It's a beautiful cemetery, so it looks peaceful the further out you go. But the back of it's like surrounded in woods. And in between the woods is the Little Cahaba River. We also found this one. Herbert and Mildred Elliott. September 16th, 1934, and September 17th, 1934, just a day apart. One thing about also investigating these cemeteries, you wonder about the stories that are behind each person. So even if we don't find anything here today, still peaceful. But this is Shiloh Cemetery. Well, that's it, folks. We got Shiloh Cemetery here for you. I'm gonna exit before a train comes through. Hope you enjoy.
Here we're at the Little Cahaba River, like literally little, This is where travelers in the 1800s would stop for drinking water between Asheville and Montevallo. And literally, there's an abandoned house right across the way. To our right and to our left is the cemetery and the church.
We are standing outside the church next to the Shiloh Cemetery. It's a historical landmark. There's no trespassing sign, so we will not be entering this building. We walked past this window. It is 98 degrees outside right now. No wind, but it feels like we're standing in front of an air conditioner right here. I thought it was weird, so I'm going to record this spot, see if we can find anything on it later. It's just a cold draft coming out. There's no power to this building. This building has been shut down for at least 20 to 30 years.